All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on our virtual journey to Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos is home to TripAdvisor's best beach winner 3 years in a row, and I myself, having been there, I have to agree that Grace Bay Beach is very spectacular. So for our new viewers, this is a live presentation, so you may have a moment where your screen freezes. Please be patient, and it should correct itself in about 30 seconds. If you are viewing today on a handheld device, you may want to unlock the screen view and turn your device to the landscape view, which is just sideways, and that will allow you to enjoy a better view of the beach today, right? So screenshots, you're always more than welcome to take screenshots of any of the info that we have on our screen today. We will have websites and email addresses that you may want to keep for future reference. We also do have a chat function, a Q&A chat function on the right-hand side of your screen. If you do have any questions for any of our guests today, please post your question in the chat, and Shannon, our Q&A moderator, will ask the experts your questions at the end of the presentation. Alrighty, let's take off and go and visit Turks and Caicos today. So joining me today, we have Winston, who represents one of the only all-inclusive resorts on the island, Beaches Turks and Caicos. Winston has also asked Jamie, the general manager of the resort, to join us today as well. And plus, we also have Kathy from the SelloffVacations office in Brandon, Manitoba. She's going to tell us about her vacation to Turks and Caicos. So Winston, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having us on board today. Love to be able to share with you a little bit about beaches, Turks and Caicos, and Turks and Caicos as well, because I've actually spent some time there as well, not only working, but also on vacation.
That's awesome. I think you're going to kick us off with a little bit of a video trip to Turks and to the
Yes.
resort.
Thank you.
We are all about family. And right now, taking care of your family is the only thing that matters. Although you can't get away to beaches, you can still create lasting memories together.
When times are down, you know I'll be with you.
The spirit of beaches is all about togetherness, wonder, non-stop giggles, and families becoming families again. While you can't come to us, let us bring that beach's state of mind to you. We'll be posting great at-home activities for the kids, ways to relax, and recipes you can make together.
Let's run away and be forever young. Wherever you go, yeah, you can take me there. Yeah, you can take me there.
Just follow #Beaches State of Mind on Facebook and Instagram. And when the time is right, we'll be there to welcome you with big smiles and even bigger hugs. Lots of love from our family to yours.
It sure was beautiful, Winston. It's unfortunate we just didn't have a little bit of our tropical music to set us in the mood there.
Yes.
But certainly
yes.
gave us the beautiful blue hues of the water. So Winston, you represent Beaches Turks and Caicos. What kind of travelers is your resort best suited for, and why?
So Beaches Turks and Caicos actually caters to families, couples, friends, traveling groups, anyone who wants peace, relaxation, and beautiful, beautiful waters and white sandy beaches. You have to be truly a water person, and you'll be in your heaven.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I myself did a girls' getaway. It was 4 of my best friends from high school, and we had a fantastic time at the resort.
Perfect.
So there's something for everybody there, that's for sure.
For sure,
So
yes.
what's one thing that you feel that stands out as unique or special at Beaches Turks and Caicos?
Beaches Turks and Caicos really is a paradise created for someone to have a no-worry vacation. We have many, many activities that's included that you can do every day. We have food, drink, scuba, everything that one wants to do on vacation, all in one. Quite a hard spot, but beautiful beach, beautiful sunsets, sunrises. So a beautiful place for someone to vacation on. as you can see from the images.
Yeah, you sure can. And what's the most common compliment that this resort tends to receive from guests?
Well, like all of our resorts, really, the team members on property. People really feel that when you come to beaches, you've come home. You've actually come home to your home, away from home, and that gives you that opportunity to just relax and enjoy.
Yeah. So if you were traveling yourself down to the resort, Winston, and you wanted to splurge on a special room type, what would you splurge on?
Well, definitely, if we're going to splurge, we want to splurge on the room category is the Italian beachfront butler suite. You're sitting right on the beach. The family rooms we have here, we have beds in the main room for the parents. We have a living room where everybody can be together in the evenings or in the mornings for breakfast, or like that. And then of course the kids' rooms, which are really, really fun for big kids and little kids, because we have bunk beds. How much is that bringing you back to being a little child enjoying a beautiful vacation? And then of course the pièce de résistance, sitting on your balcony looking out onto the Caribbean. Beautiful sunsets. And here's having a meal on your sunset, or this is what you wake up to every morning. So I think this is the one you want to splurge on a little bit. I mean, we have many, many choices, and Jamie will share with you the many choices that we do have, but I think this is the one you want to really pick on.
Oh, I could definitely handle that room category and that view for breakfast.
There you go.
All right. So speaking of breakfast, what's your favorite dining experience at the resort?
Oh, dear me. Well, this resort offers over 22 dining options. And so one of the tricks that we do when we go down to a resort, because there's so many and we're normally there not enough. I mean, 7 days, think about it, 7 days, 22. That's like eating in a different restaurant at every meal, every day. So it's like a challenge. So what we do, and I put it in here in the pictures, is we will go to Soy, which is our sushi restaurant. There I am in my glory. This is the Sky Lounge restaurant, which is, as you can see, sitting above, looking over the Caribbean. So we go to the sushi restaurant, Soy, have a little bit of an appetizer, and then run over for the main course or another appetizer. Why not? All right, the
Why not?
Yeah, why not? It can be done, and it has been done, and it will be done. And it's almost part of a challenge when you go on vacation, right? You have to eat.
That's right.
But you get to exercise as well. And there's your view. I mean, nothing beats that. And truly, when we come to a beaches resort or a sandals resort, we really want you to live and enjoy the Caribbean. So we have a lot of our dining options being outside in the fresh air. And today with COVID and the different avenues, they're telling you that outside is better. And here we give you the opportunity. So, when you go to Sky, you're actually having things like your barbecue Gulf shrimp, your pork belly, halibut, all great choices for international fare. And Jamie will share with you all the different restaurants that we have there as well.
Well, the food must be good if you've got the items memorized, your favorite items.
Well, you know what your favorites are when you head down, so you got to hit those ones.
That's right. All right. So what's your number one insider tip for any viewers that are thinking of going to Turks and Caicos?
Well, most definitely, because it's a water-based vacation, you need to be getting into either being a scuba diver. Again, you can learn to scuba dive before you go down, or you can learn to scuba dive while you're with us. We do offer the PADI certification training, so you can actually become certified internationally. And then, of course, being water-based, you get to do the snorkeling, the glass bottom. You can do the Hobie Cats. You can do even a catamaran cruise. So lots of water-based activities. So get into that. And then, of course, enjoy the resorts and the island in itself, because there's quite a few little tours you can do around the island.
Okay. And when I am touring around the island, is English widely spoken? Yes.
Well, British, Turks and Caicos Islands are actually a British overseas territory. So they speak English there. We speak the Queen's English. And when you're on the transfer from the airport, you might feel a little bit strange because they're on the wrong side of the road. So it is truly British in the sense that we carry all the customs of the UK. Yeah.
Okay.
So English, not to worry, everybody will understand you, and you will be understood if you have any questions or queries.
Awesome. And what about currency when I'm on the island? What would I use for currency?
Currency, we're using the US dollar.
Okay.
Proximity to the US really commands that, makes it easy for everyone. And the biggest market we have is the North American market. So the US dollar would be the currency of choice.
Okay, perfect. Now, Winston, are there any special events or promotions coming up for Beaches, Turks and Caicos that you wanted to share with our viewers?
Yes, well, we have always specials going on, and people who are looking on our website or the SelloffVacation website, if you're using your links, we have a special offer for the fall. Every fall, we give you a free Sesame Street tuck-in. Jamie will share what that's all about because he'll come personally and check and tuck you in. And also we give a free couples massage. So that's kind of fun for the parents. While the kids are enjoying themselves, the couples are having a massage. We also have the Girls Weekend Getaway, something exactly what you spoke about. 2 times a year, we'll host it at Beaches, Turks and Caicos. And just for ladies, the last time I think we had over 100 women down having a wonderful time doing yoga on the beach, cooking classes, all the things that girls love to do, having fun. Even a catamaran cruise, I believe they go off on that. So, get ready, pack your bags. Jamie's waiting for you. He'll entertain as well. Don't worry. And today is Wednesday, is it? Is today Wednesday?
It is. It's Wednesday today.
Then we have what we call the 777. So on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, we pick 7 resorts. Well, actually, we only have 3 beaches resorts. So what we do is we pick 7 category of rooms, and we put them on a 7% discount from whatever is out there for 7 days. So from today until Tuesday next week, we have some rooms on sale. So get in touch with your SelloffVacations team and get them to share with you which rooms these are. And after Jamie speaks to you, I'm sure you'll get involved in knowing which rooms suit you, because that's the main thing. We have something for everyone. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Winston.
Yes.
So, Jamie, we've got you up next. You're the general manager on site at the resort, and I believe you are right in Turks and Caicos today. So can you tell us what's the weather like there?
I am. Thank you all for joining us today. It's beautiful here in Turks and Caicos, as it always is. It's about 90 degrees. Got a nice cool July breeze going. So the sand is soft, the water is wet, and this is the place to be.
All right. So Turks and Caicos is famous for their beaches. Can you tell us about the beach that's right in front of the resort?
Yeah, it really is. Grace Bay Beach here in Turks and Caicos is repeatedly voted the #1 top beach in the world by TripAdvisor's Readers Poll this last 3 years. And the 3rd largest barrier reef, this is a fun fact for everyone, the 3rd largest barrier reef in the world actually surrounds Turks and Caicos. And so that reef provides for a safe, calm, waves as they come in. They just little ripples that come into the beach there, and the sand is extremely soft, and the water is very shallow as you come out here. So that's what lends itself to being probably, like I said, one of the best beaches in the world. And we have, because of the size of our property, about a half mile of that beach right in front of our resort.
Yeah, it certainly is beautiful. So Beaches Turks is quite a large resort. Can you kind of share with us sort of the layout and the size of that resort?
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, we've got 5 villages here at the resort, 4 really area locations, of the 5th being the Seaside Village, which is in the Caribbean Village. 758 rooms. There's 45 different room categories here. So it's spread out over that 100 acres, but it's really, they're all just tied next to each other. So it's not like, it takes you half an hour to get from one spot to the next. Here, as you're going through these pictures, get a chance to see from the Caribbean and Seaside Village over to the Italian Village, which is right next to it. Key West Village is right next to it, all along the beach. And then off the beach is where the French Village and the water park are located. But they're all, again, they just tie and flow one right into the next. So you could actually start here in the Key West Village, which is where the blue roofs are, and jump on the boardwalk and walk all the way past Italian, through Caribbean and Seaside, down to what we call Treasure Beach in about 6 or 7 minutes. And that's just walking, and again, some of the most beautiful views in the world as you walk along that boardwalk.
Yeah. So multi-generational travel, it's been very popular, especially since people have had to physical distance from their families over the last few months. Do you have any accommodations that are suited for larger families or friends of groups that are sharing a bubble that want to travel together?
Yeah, we certainly do, Sherry. You know, like I said, we have 45 room categories here. And while that might seem a little overwhelming, it also means that we have something for everyone, and particularly for multi-generational families. When you're looking, okay, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 people. We have accommodations that could put 10 people into one suite. The picture you have on your screen there is a 4-bedroom beachfront villa residence with its own private plunge pool in Key West Village. Comes with butler service, and that comfortably sleeps 10 persons with 4 separate bedrooms. Nice spacious living room. You have an open kitchen area that has a full refrigerator in it. You have washer and dryer facilities, which really is very popular while people are on vacations with multi-generations. Hey, we don't have to pack all those dirty swimsuits with us as we go back home. They actually end up doing laundry while they're there. And so from the Key West over into the Italian Village 2-bedroom butler suite, the oceanfront unit that actually Winston was talking about. You've got a king bed, you've got the kids' room that has the bunk beds and the trundle. So there's 5 persons there. And then that extra living room parlor area actually has another trundle bed and a pull-out sofa. So you could put 2, 3 more persons into that parlor as well. So for multi-generational families, large families, or even groups, as you said, girlfriend getaway, you know, that's a great opportunity where the ladies can get together. But hey, let's all, you know, we'll all chip in, and we all want to stay together. We all live together. We're traveling together, and they can all stay in one of those units.
Yeah. So Winston had told us that there's like over 20 different dining options at the resort. So can you share with us what types of cuisines guests can enjoy and what measures are in place at the restaurants to address physical distancing?
Sure. We always know where Winston is, by the way, when he's here. That's what we have to say. We just find him in the restaurant. But, you know, with 20 different options, actually 22 different options if you're here for that week, with a variety from soy, which is our sushi restaurant, to Kimonos, a Japanese teppanyaki restaurant. We have 3 adult dining dinner restaurants, Sapadillas and Sky, as well as Le Petit Chateau, our French restaurant. You have to be 12 and up to dine there. But we have, you know, from an Indian restaurant, we have an English pub that's got a pub menu. We have Mario's, which is an Italian restaurant. Here you see Barefoot's, which is an international menu, but nothing beats taking off your shoes, jumping your toes in the sand, and having a nice meal out by the ocean. Many times you'll think of an all-inclusive and it's just going to be buffet restaurants as well, and that's not the case here. We only have 4 buffet restaurants, 1 in each of the villages, so that tends to lend itself well for not only a different choices that you have, but not feeling like you have to eat in the same restaurant all the time. We also have some specialty restaurants like the Mac and Cheese Truck, which is a favorite of all of our guests. We have the ability to now, with social and physical distancing, we actually call it physical distancing because we like to stay social. But we have implemented dinner reservations at all of our restaurants as well. So you can actually get in, you'll know when you're going to eat, you don't have to wait in line, and there'll be distance between the tables of where and who will be dining in the restaurant at that particular time. And I do want to also say we have a culinary concierge as well. So for persons that have dietary restrictions or allergies or things of that nature, they can use that culinary concierge program to make sure that we're preparing the food safely for what they like to have in the restaurant where they want to dine with their family, so they're not secluded or, you know, run off. You can only eat over in this little spot because you have a dietary need. We include everybody through that process.
That's great. That's really good to know. So can you tell us also about a little bit about the activities that are available for children? I think it goes all the way from babies to teenagers.
It sure does. We'll take as if they can travel. We have infants here all the time. We have our nursery set up. We have all of our nannies are actually certified nannies through the Universal Nanny Association, and so from babies up to teens, or even big adult kids as well. We've got activities and events for everyone. Our partnership with Sesame Street is a huge part of what beaches, Turks and Caicos and all of our beaches resorts are. We have activities throughout the day that involve all of the Sesame Street characters. We have shows every night with those characters. But with the physical distancing restrictions also that we've implemented, we've reduced the number of kids per counselor as well. So again, we don't have those big groups of 10 or 12 as it would be. We've limited those to 6 per counselor as it will, and then looked at the different activities that they have. So, we have the wonderful train that goes around the property. Those activities that our guests have come to know and love, particularly with the characters, are all still available. I think I saw one of the slides there with the character Tuck-In, which is one of my favorites, where the character actually comes into the room and reads a bedtime story with their handler to the children. So a little bit different, where the character doesn't sit on the bed with the child anymore, but they're in the room. So that distancing still takes place, but the experience where the child is still there and gets to have a bedtime story by one of the Sesame Street characters is a memory of a lifetime.
Oh, that's excellent. Is there a better time to travel to Turks so that I can avoid rainy season and always get the nicest weather?
Sure, it's always wonderful in Turks and Caicos. We're one of those places where the mantra is beautiful by nature for the country, and it really is. From a rainy season standpoint, again, we are in the Caribbean, so we do have a hurricane season as it typically would be. I would say November is typically the one of the rainiest months per se, but we usually see those storms kind of roll through in September. So storms get through us in September, and then it kind of trickles off. And what's nice about Turks and Caicos, and we're located in Providenciales, is that it's a small island. So typically, if it does rain, it lasts about 20 minutes, and then it blows on through.
Oh, that's easy to handle. Can you also highlight some of the COVID safety measures that are being taken at the resort?
Sure, would love to. Got a little video here, and we've put this up on our website as well. So for persons that want to find out about our platinum protocols, I would encourage you to go on to it to see it. But we've kind of highlighted 18 major touch points that we are focusing on for our guests and our staff. So from the time that people land at the airport to get into those taxis, there's going to be protocols in place. But, in the guest rooms, all the touch points, high touch points in those guest rooms, in the restaurants, in the public areas, we're using electrostatic cold foggers in all of our public areas. One of the experiences that our guests will see is that after the rooms, particularly for check-in, and we've implemented online check-in more so now as well. So our intent is that as the guests get to the resort, we're going to be able to take them right to their room without having to stop by that front desk at all. They'll be met by the front desk agent or the concierge. They'll walk them straight to their suite. And when they enter their suite, that door will be sealed so that the guests know that the last person in that room was the housekeeping supervisor who made sure that that room was sanitized properly. Then they'll break that seal before they go in. But throughout the restaurants, and this is going to include every touch point on the resort, Sherry. So when you talk about entertainment, the chairs that you sit in between the shows, those will be sanitized. When you talk about water sports and the Hobie cats that persons go out and share on, those Hobie cats will be sanitized and cleaned between every single guest. So we've really put a major focus on making sure that the resort is safe for all of our guests and our team members.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. And I mean, the video shows it too. I mean, it shows the attention to detail that they're taking, and that's nice to see, and a little reassuring as well too.
Absolutely.
So you're local to Turks and Caicos. What's your absolute must-see, must-do items for any guests that are going to Turks and Caicos?
The beach, and like I said, Turks and Caicos is beautiful by nature, and the water sports environment is second to none. I really enjoy Scuba diving, I got certified quite a while ago. And you know what's great? I grew up in Colorado in the mountains, so I know a little bit what Canadian weather might be like for 6 months out of the year. And so you finally get a chance to jump into some water to go scuba diving. And down here, you know what? The picture you see here of the gal and the guy in their bathing suits and maybe just a rash guard is all you need to jump in the water with. The water is really warm and very comfortable. But you're going to see, if you get the chance, and diving is included, by the way. So if you're certified, make sure, you know, again, you take that into account when you think about a destination, because you can go out and dive as many times as you want, and we take you out and all of that's included, but you're going to see things that you typically don't see in other places, like rays, like sharks, like turtles, you know, like starfish, and you see those on almost every single dive that you go on because of that reef I was talking about earlier.
Excellent. I loved snorkeling there, that's for sure. And at beaches, again, snorkeling was included too, and they took us out as many times as you could put your name on the sign-up sheet. You got to go.
Absolutely.
That was great. Last question, is Turks back open for business, the island itself?
So good news is the island will be opening its international borders on next Wednesday on July 22nd. So the protocols that the government has put in place are also out there on a website, on the government website, which is a good resource for persons to look at on what's required to come into country. Two of the high points on that, Sherry, would be that they are requiring that a COVID-free PCR test is received 5 days prior to travel, and you've got that. And then health insurance, which includes medevac coverage on there just in the event that somebody did need to, you know, leave the island in an emergency. But the good news is that all starts and the gates will be open on next Wednesday.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys are able to move forward. That's great news.
Us too.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Kathy, I believe Turks and Caicos is one of your favorite destinations, and you're going to share with us a little bit of a different perspective. You had stayed not at an all-inclusive resort, you had stayed more at a condo hotel style resort. And I believe you're going to tell us a little bit about that experience.
Absolutely. It is my absolute pleasure to be here today. The Turks and Caicos is one of my all-time favorite destinations. And I'll tell you that this photo right here is not a screensaver. That's an unedited photo, no Photoshop. It was, I took it personally in the first hour of the first day of my first visit to the Turks and Caicos. I've been back a couple times since. But this is that beautiful beach at Ocean Club Hotels. So it's more of a condo, hotel condo style. And I tell you, when I see this hammock, this is my happy place. If I was meditating and someone asked me to visualize where I wanted to be for ultimate peace and relaxation, that's the very spot I would be. And so for me, the Turks and Caicos isn't an all-inclusive, action-packed family vacation. For me, Turks and Caicos is a place where I go to avoid crowds, to indulge in some family time, and to indeed just be quiet and just to find the peace when you're exhausted and you just need to recharge. I think of it as the ultimate destination. The island itself is only 38 square meters, so it's a very small island, and in fact, about 25,000 residents. So it's a small community. These are my personal natural photos. There's no editing, and I didn't ask any crowds to get out of the way. So in fact, you can see the wide open spaces. So I was social distancing in my travels before it was popular. I like those wide open spaces where there's not packed crowds. So this photo, I'll talk to you for just a moment about it. What it is I'm standing on the beach on that beautiful Grace Bay Beach, and I'm facing south from Ocean Club East, which is one of the more northern resorts. But you're only 20 minutes from the airport. There's really nothing on the island more than 20 or 30 minutes from the airport. So right here, I'm looking south and I'm thinking about walking to the grocery store. The first resort I'll pass would be Club Med. And then you'll go past Royal West Indies and Seven Stars. And then you'll cut through the community crosswalk and head to the grocery store. So that beach, you can walk unencumbered for probably 2 hours. I've certainly gone almost that myself. and that there's not security guards, there's not gates between the resorts. You are free and comfortable to pass in front of all of the different condo hotels, and just to take a look, and there's restaurants you're welcome to, but I feel very safe and very casual and very much like I'm in paradise whenever I do see the Turks and Caicos. So this next photo, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that condo hotel style resort. These are 3-story buildings. This one is Ocean Club East. There's also an Ocean Club, which is a little further into the center of the action. But what they are is they are condo units with kitchenettes. There's 2 modest pools here. They were perfectly suitable for my kids. We brought a few water toys. They made a few friends. But really, just exactly as our other presenters talked about, the Turks and Caicos is an ocean playground. You know, the pools are just sort of an accessory, an afterthought, really. The action all takes place at the ocean. So this I want to show you. This photo just talks about the lush green tropical island that is paradise of the Turks and Caicos. And you'll see in the background, almost all of the condo units have an ocean view, or you'll see some sort of water. But if you're facing the back and the parking lot, it's really of no consequence because there's gorgeous palm trees on every side. This here is inside our 1-bedroom condo unit at the Ocean Club. And so it had a cooktop, a fridge, there was washer dryer, and that was perfectly fine. And so when I visit the Turks and Caicos, and have in the past, I've certainly been on a tight budget. I have traveled at low season just to be able to be in paradise. And for me, I don't mind budgeting and cooking pancakes if it means that I can spend more time on the beach and be in just this ultimate safe and special, like it's a very special destination. So for me, if you're thinking about grocery shopping and meals out, I budget about $500 or so for the week US for our meals. This right here is the Getaway Gourmet grocery store. So it's about a mile off of any of the resort locations. And it's an IGA. So you're going to find some of the brands that you recognize from Canada. You won't find big steaks or meat products. You'll really focus your meals, if you're buying them, on fish and chicken, rice. There's certainly fresh fruit, juice. At the IGA, you're also going to pick up liquor there. There's also sunscreen and a few other pool toys and things that you might need. So it is a very modern, easily accessible grocery store, and you only cross one street. So in fact, when I've gone to the Turks and Caicos, I haven't even bothered to rent a car. I can go and do my grocery shopping just by a nice casual walk. And in fact, I really enjoy it. It's a really nice, peaceful activity. Right next door to the Getaway Gourmet, you're going to find a Scotiabank. And so people have talked, we've all heard it, that Canada wanted to adopt the Turks and Caicos, and it would have been wonderful. In the 80s and 90s, it even went to government, and people talked about it in Parliament of how do we adopt this beautiful country. And while that never took place, you will see several Canadian franchises and stores, things you'll recognize, so you'll feel very much at home. Now, if you're looking for an insider tip, you need to talk to a travel agent like myself, and especially someone who has been there. And then you'll know about places like this. This is the Little Caicos French Bakery. It was started and it is run by a lovely baker. She's come from France and she fell in love with the island and in fact moved her family and opened this bakery. So your reward for going and getting your groceries and bringing your grocery bags from home is to stop by this bakery, pick up some chocolate croissant and a baguette, and that's what you'll make your sandwiches with. And it's a beautiful treat. That is a must-see in my opinion. See, look how happy I look picking up groceries. And once again, you don't see anyone in the back of my photo. My son's just taken that as we've had that beautiful morning walk to go get groceries for the day. If you're buying eggs and juice and things like that, you're certainly not going to starve in Turks and Caicos, and the food quality and water quality is very high. So as a mom, I've always been concerned about that, and I can assure you there's high quality ingredients there at Turks and Caicos. Now, you're not going to make every meal in your condo. You're going to go out for drinks. This is the local beer. It's Turks Head Island Draft. It's a beautiful light beer. There's also all the tropical drinks that you would enjoy at an all-inclusive resort. You can buy those. There are patio restaurants and cafes just along the strip, and you're welcome to stop into any of them. This one was at my hotel. Now, this is what you can expect if you're eating out and buying an a la carte meal in the Turks and Caicos. So this is on the left, a clubhouse sandwich with salad. You'll see beautiful fish and fish tacos and salad on the other side. I expect to pay about $20 or $25 a plate for a meal like this, but beautiful, fresh, healthy ingredients. So you can definitely enjoy eating out as well. For me, when I had little kids, when the boys were fussy eaters, it did help me to be able to make my own meals and to create things in the hotel condo unit itself. So if you're not indulging in the all-inclusive and you're willing to make a few meals, or you have those strict dietary restrictions, or your kids eat like a bird and you don't want to pay for more than you would ever eat for your little kids, this was a good option. So I can recommend that. There were pancakes and eggs a few mornings for certain. This is if you're walking along that Grace Bay beach and you decide to stop into a restaurant for lunch. This is the kind of view you would expect. On the right-hand side, there's a little spray stand so you can wash off your feet and put your sandals back on and then sit down for a beautiful lunch. No security, no wristbands. If you're staying at one of the condos, you're welcome to stop in for lunch at the patio bar at the Royal West Indies and have their chicken wings and grab a cocktail. So you don't have to exclusively eat at your own hotel. Now, I'm just going to get into a little bit some of the activities on my a la carte modest budget vacation. You can certainly rent a Hobie Cat. You can rent all kinds of water sports equipment. Certainly in a COVID world, I would bring my own scuba gear for my own kids, and they enjoyed the snorkeling and the scuba gear. I brought that kind of stuff from home and a few beach balls, and it worked great. You can get a fishing charter. You can rent and go on a catamaran ride. Absolutely. There's lots of activities to do. But for us and some of my experience, it's just been showing the prairie kids what that beautiful white sand beach looks like. Just go to the next slide here. So speaking of my kids, here's my younger son enjoying that beautiful tropical clear water. You can walk right in. There really isn't a reef or any need for water shoes. Those photos, that turquoise water that you see in postcards and pictures is for real. It's gorgeous. An underwater camera and a $20 scuba mask, and that was plenty of entertainment and kept us busy from sunup to sundown. Whether we were making sandcastles, enjoying the little schools of fish that went by, it's just, the water and nature is just incredible there. So we weren't zip lining, we weren't out on an ATV course. It was first thing in the morning, grab a towel, head down to the beautiful beach, and just enjoy the ocean. So that's what I think about when I think about Turks and Caicos, just that ultimate beach relaxation and disconnect from people and crowds. You make friends with the hermit crabs. I tell you, for small prairie kids, it was definitely a most memorable and well-received vacation, just to be able to enjoy being outside. Calling them in at sunset was it wasn't hard. They were exhausted, but we certainly had packed and wonderful days. If you want to get off the resort, get away from the ocean for a little bit, there isn't big outlet malls. It's not a cruise port. If you're cruising into the Turks and Caicos, you're not coming to this island here. This is not Providenciales, or Provo, as most everyone calls it. You're docking in Grand Turk, an entirely different destination. Whereas if you're taking a Sunwing package or Air Canada or WestJet, you'll be flying into Providenciales. So here's just some of that casual Caribbean style. You're not big fancy Rolex stores like you might at the cruise port, but here you can pick up sunscreen and an island dress and just be very casual. One of the other things, and another insider tip I like to share with all my clients, is the puppies. You'll want to see and to greet, if you are an animal lover, go to the Pot Cake Puppy Rescue. And in fact, I can't think of another destination where you can borrow a puppy for an hour or two and take them for a little walk on the beach. I think I've got a slide of some of those puppies in here next. Nope, no little puppies. If you hear the name Pot Cake Rescue, you can go ahead and look it up online. It's a sweet insider's tip. You can walk a puppy and enjoy an hour with them on the beach. And in fact, it's quite popular. They have an Instagram account too. But this takes us back to the Ocean Club and those signature pink umbrellas. And for me, that felt like home when I would come back at the end of the day and be quite comfortable. The last few slides are just a little bit about that peace and tranquility and that connection in a perfect destination. No seaweed, and just, again, you're not seeing crowds in my photos, and it's not because I had moved people aside to vainly take a picture of myself or the kids. It was just a socially distant vacation before it was ever popular. This beautiful small island is welcoming and friendly and safe for Canadians. And I would certainly recommend into the future one of a hotel condo resort stay, because it's nice to have your own space for the week. You can control your meals. And if you don't mind doing a little cooking while you're on vacation, it's a budget friendly way to go.
That's great. Thank you, Kathy. It was nice to see two different perspectives on how you can visit the island. So that was wonderful. So Shannon, I believe you have a lot of viewer questions today. What do you have for our experts?
Sorry about that. Yes, I certainly do have questions here for everybody to answer. Thank you for all that presentation. There's such beautiful pictures and information there. Certainly lots of choices for different travelers to travel to Turks and Caicos at some point. So I will start with the questions here. I'm going to start with you, Winston.
Sure.
Someone asked, will you be filling your resorts 100% with the safety requirements for COVID-19?
I think we have a certain level. We're doing about 70% to start, and then as we'll see how things work out, and then we'll increase as necessary. We want to make sure that we do naturally have a lot of physical distancing capabilities, but we certainly want to be able to clean the rooms and do all of the things that we need necessary for sanitizing. So yeah.
That's perfect. Thank you, Winston. I do have another one here for you as well. How are they dealing with the buffets for COVID?
For right now, we're doing more of a serving type. So you don't actually use any of the utensils. We have the full buffet line, but you just get served instead. So you can still do that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's great, Winston. We do have a few more here. Jamie, are you able to answer a few for me?
Yes.
Someone asked, I know we spoke about currency, but what currency do they prefer to use in Turks and Caicos? What's the preference?
The US dollar is the main currency, and there actually is not a local currency, so bring your dollars.
Excellent, perfect. And I have a question here, and then a kind of a follow-up question to that as well in relation to weather in Turks and Caicos. First of all, what is the rainy season in Turks and Caicos? Is there one?
So the rainy season, again, hurricane season, if you will, we typically see most of the storms, if it's going to come through in September usually. But the rainiest month would be November, I believe, on record, and I think it's like 3 inches. It's not that much because of the size of the island. It doesn't last very long.
Perfect. And then kind of a follow up to that was, what is the weather like in fall, September to November?
It's really it's really quite nice. I mean, it's really quite warm still in September, October, November. You're probably going to have temperatures. I'm going to use Fahrenheit between 90, 93 degrees is what you would typically see. And then as you get into later fall, like October into November, then the breezes start to come back up, where then the temperatures might get down, 87, 88 degrees.
Okay, perfect. So someone else did ask about January. They were considering a vacation in January. Actually, they asked what the water temperature might be like during that time.
January daytime temperatures probably in the mid 80s during the day, low 80s to high 70s at night, and the temperature of the water probably close to around 75 to 80 degrees.
Okay, excellent. Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Kathy, I have a few questions for you as well.
Please, I'm ready.
Perfect. The first one is, what type of traveler would Turks and Caicos be suited for, would you say?
You know what? I love it for a special anniversary trip. It can be a really wonderful relaxation couples trip. I also think it's fabulous for families or anyone who's experienced Hawaii. And maybe you've done that resort condo vacation before, and you're quite comfortable, looking fewer activities and just more family time and chance to connect. So I think anyone who's enjoyed Maui or has enjoyed Kauai would certainly do very well in the Caribbean Turks and Caicos.
Okay, perfect, Kathy. And what would you consider to be the best resort to stay at if you don't want to rent a car while you're there? Obviously, beaches would be a great option.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I would love to stay at beaches. I think that would be fabulous. Yeah. That Grace Bay Beach. Think of the main street or anything in your small town or your city. Whether you're thinking about Toronto and Yonge Street, or you're thinking about Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Portage Avenue. That's your main strip. So for that in Turks and Caicos on Provo is Grace Bay. So it's this one long stretch of beach, and that's where all the action happens. So pull out the Google map when you call to talk to me, and we'll walk through some of the resorts, and that they're not too far from each other. So whether you're looking at Ocean Club or you're looking at Royal West Indies, Seven Stars, Sands at Grace Bay, they're all physically located on that beachfront, and they're excellent. And so just no need at all for a car. I've certainly done 3 vacations without it and never felt like I missed anything. You can grab a taxi or head over to Long Bay Beach or one of the other beaches. That's definitely possible. There's bikes at most of the resorts, so I tootled around on the bike just to see what was going on. And then that shopping district is just one street off and parallel to that beach. And so let's look at the Google map together, and let's talk about what your family needs are and what you'd like most out of a resort. And let's look at the amenities, and we'll find the right resort for you.
Perfect, Kathy. That sounds great. I'm going to come back to you, Winston.
Yeah.
Someone asked what entertainment do they have at the hotel, the Beaches Hotel, I believe, and I'm not sure if they're referring to in general or if they're referring to during, like, once you reopen from the COVID pandemic. I don't know if maybe you could speak to that question.
Maybe I'll have Jamie speak to that one, because especially with the new COVID,
yes,
I'm not too sure what we've kept
there's some changes
of added. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't mind.
So entertainment, it's a pretty broad question. So daytime entertainment and the activities, the shuffleboard, the volleyball, activities with the teens, those sorts of things will still be done. They'll just be done in a bit of a different format with the physical distancing. We will still have live entertainment as far as persons coming in the evenings, playing outside of the restaurants and along the boardwalk. So you can hear, a saxophonist or a guy that's playing steel pan, outside of the restaurants. And then we will also still have live entertainment shows. Again, physically distancing the seating areas outside of the stage area, but we'll still have a show every night where people
Okay.
can sit back and observe and watch those shows happening.
Excellent. That's great to hear, Jamie. I have a question, another question for you, actually, Jamie. It was, sorry, just a second here. It was actually, someone actually asked another question about the weather. Lots of questions about that. It was about December. I know you quickly mentioned that, but they actually asked if the water would be rough that time of year.
Yeah, it's not really rough any time of the year. I mean, we may get a little storm that goes through and impact the weather for a day if it would happen. But because of that reef that surrounds the island, it really helps to protect the beach as it is. You know, that's not to say that one day, like I said, a nor'easter or something that you'd see blowing up through the coast might be coming up, and so we would catch kind of the tail end of that as it would impact the beach. But you know, for the most part, because of our location, because of that reef, the weather is really typically pretty good year round.
Perfect. So just in general, that sounds good then, Jamie. Yep. Perfect. Thank you. Kathy, I'm going to come back to you. Someone asked, is there a local community outside the resort they can visit? I'm sure Jamie could answer that too, but Kathy, if you think you're able to, we can certainly have you answer that.
I haven't done much exploring. I have met some of the locals on my beach walk and at the French bakery and at the IGA. Everyone is very relaxed and friendly, very much island time. It's got that intimate boutique vacation feel wherever you go. I know that Winston and Jamie could talk a little bit about their community involvement in some of the schools and the projects they've done. So it's a friendly, wonderful place, though. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Jamie, could you add to that, or Winston?
Yeah, I would agree, Kathy. It's very friendly island. You know, there are a lot of expats on the island as well, and meaning there are a lot of Canadians that are on the island. There's a lot of folks from the UK that are on the island. But then it's very diverse. There's a lot of Jamaicans. There's a lot of people from the Dominican Republic, from Haiti, and then obviously from Turks and Caicos. But it's a relaxed environment, you know, everywhere you go. And as Kathy was talking about down in Grace Bay, if you were to go out to dinner, there's a lot of really good restaurants that are out in Grace Bay as well. And, you know, it's just really good, friendly service that you would see. There is typically a weekly fish fry in Turks and Caicos on, I think it was Thursday nights. Now, whether or not how they're going to do that with COVID, that was suspended, you know, before the borders had closed. But there's different community type of events like that throughout the different seasons. So it's just a fun, relaxed type of atmosphere, you know, that represents the Caribbean.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds amazing. I haven't been, but certainly on my bucket list. Kathy, I do have another question here in relation to transportation. Someone asked, is there any local transportation in the area?
I definitely know there's cabs, and, you know, ask at that front desk. Ask at the front desk whether you're staying at a resort hotel or an all-inclusive. They will have access to private cars, taxi transfers. Now, don't forget that Turks and Caicos is also known, and we've seen it in social media with some of the big movie stars and celebrities that travel there. Now, you're not seeing them in and out and about at Grace Bay. Typically, they're in compounds and big fancy villas on the other side, but you might rub elbows in the airport, or you might pass people along. But if that's what our question was getting at, is can you be rubbing elbows with celebrities? I never have. I've kept fairly close and modest, but it is certainly a destination popular with celebrities. You'll see some of their posts, and I believe Prince had one of the first compounds there. Like, Turks and Caicos is still a relatively new destination. It was only truly settled and tourism started well into the 80s when Club Med opened, and then other resorts started to add on. So it's in our lifetime that it started developing as a tourist destination, and it's still evolving. If you are so inclined, there is a real estate office next to the puppies and the bakery and the IGA. You can pop in and see what it would cost to retire in the Turks and Caicos. And then don't forget your friend Kathy and invite me to come by and come by for a cocktail.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have one more question here for the evening. I'm going to put it to you, Kathy, because it's more in a relation to a question about traveling to Turks and Caicos from Canada. Someone asked if you're able to travel there this summer or fall from a Canadian airport. Yeah, and then there's a follow-up question to that too, but I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. So in the past and into the future, there have been direct flights just out of the busiest markets in Canada. You'll find direct flights year-round out of Toronto. Air Canada also flies direct out of Montreal. So if you're connecting from Regina or Winnipeg or Calgary, you would expect to go through that YYZ, that Toronto airport. Sometimes with WestJet, for us Winnipeggers, we're on a 5 a.m. flight, and then we're in the Turks and Caicos by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're settling in for a cocktail. On the way home, the connecting flights will get you back to Manitoba same day, about midnight. Year-round, they do fly out of Toronto, Air Canada and WestJet, and Sunwing does charters in and out of Toronto in that winter season. If you're looking to go in low season, like July, I've been there in July for an anniversary. It's always a connection, but it's absolutely worth it. And then our Canadian airports, when you land in the Turks and Caicos, it's a modern, fully functional airport. It's got an open air lounge, and it's quite lovely. And you'll hear that steel drum music and feel that island breeze. And so you're on vacation the minute you touch down at their airport.
Okay, perfect. And I think maybe they might have been getting at, Kathy, is do we have flights? Do we know if we have flights going into Turks and Caicos like this particular summer or fall because of the COVID? I don't know if we have them started yet. But
Toronto Air Canada does have it scheduled, so flying it is on the schedule. I was looking up December for a client of mine, and looking into both WestJet and Air Canada have flights scheduled for this fall and winter. And the other thing to know, that whether you're booking any of the airlines with us right now, ask about that. Their quality assurance, their COVID policies about changes and cancellations. All of the airlines are being very flexible, and they want to work with travelers to book with confidence. And then, so book confidently, and should the travel restrictions not be lifted, know that you'll be able to postpone or make changes with most of those trips. So this is just one more reason that you need to talk to a real person, talk to a travel agent, call me, and then let's book that trip, because it is booking and it is possible. And then you circle that on the calendar, and then you've got something to look forward to. And if COVID restrictions keep you from traveling this September, December, whenever you want to go, know that the island will be there into the future. Turks and Caicos, like other islands, Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, they're going to be there to welcome Canadians into the future whenever the time is right.
Yeah. And then they did just ask if they'd have to self-isolate for 14 days upon arrival to Toronto, which I think I can answer that. I think as of right now, yes. I mean, obviously that's ever changing, so we just need to, kind of stay up to date on the different government website, basically, and do what they're asking at the time when you do travel. So certainly that's something we can talk about if you are planning, and we can keep you up to date on that as well. So. And that was the last question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I look after British Columbia, so from our side of the world, we would do the red eye probably to Toronto,
right,
and then down to the Turks.
Fly in the next
and we can normally come back home same day as well, thankfully. So,
excellent. That's
but
good
everything
to know.
is via Toronto, as Kathy said.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's great. That was the end of the questions there. I'll turn it back to Sherry. Thank you for all the questions that came in there tonight. That was great.
Thank you, Shannon, and a huge, huge thank you to Winston, Jamie, and Kathy for teaching us all about Turks and Caicos today. So if you did have a question that we weren't able to answer, our moderators, Shannon, as you know, and Pam will stay on the chat for about another 10 minutes or so. And you can also speak directly to one of our SelloffVacations agents tonight until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can reach us on our toll-free line, which is 1-877-735-5633. You can also reach out to Kathy for any of your questions or any assistance in making a booking. You can reach Kathy at her email, which is Brandon, so BRANDON @SelloffVacations.com. She would be really happy to hear from you. And again, please join us. Oh, I was just going to mention too, the presentations are all recorded. If you've missed any of our previous presentations and you'd like to view them, you can certainly view them on our YouTube channel, which is MySellOffVacations. And you're more than welcome to view any of the previous presentations that we've had. Next week, we will be going to Jamaica, so please join us next week for Jamaica, Wednesday as well, and the link will be up probably tonight for you if you wanted to keep that handy for next week. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.